But I had another dream of Obama becoming the Antichrist. And I was standing with him, and he told me, he like whispered to me, he said, I'm the lone wolf, right? And I said, you're not just a lone wolf. I said something like, these might not have been my exact words, but I said something like, you're also the lawless one and the Antichrist or something like that, I couldn't tell if this filled him with pride or if it made him angry or maybe both. But he like raised himself up, and then he raised his fists into the air, and then he started to come against God. And so I did the opposite. I dropped to my knees and submitted to God, and I'm like praying to God, and I say something to Obama like, you're gonna cause Satan to come into you. And then I see him start to turn red and start to turn into Satan. And not that Satan's red, but like symbolically. And I knew that Satan had gone into him. And then once Satan was in him, he just looked around with total hatred, and he wanted to hurt me. He wanted to kill me.
I don't know why Obama was in my dream, the president. And out of nowhere, everybody was like, the president is here. And I was like, why is the president, where is the president here? What is he doing here? That's what I was saying in the back of my head, like, what is he doing here? So he was there, and he was like, we all can go now. We all can leave out of this safe, out of here. And we was like, leave? Why would we leave? It's not safe out through, out these gates. We shouldn't go anywhere. We should stay where we're safe. And the president was convincing everybody that we should, open the gates, cut up all the ropes. We were all there helping out. Everybody was trying to unlock the gate because Obama told us to unlock the gate. So we trust him. And the minute I opened that gate, something flew right in the house, like flew right into in our facility. And I was like, what was that? And as it came by, it smelled like, ooh, like the smell was awful. Like, whoa, what it smelled like, in my ear, a voice whisper in my ear and says, the Antichrist is here. That thing that we let in was the damn Antichrist. We let the Antichrist in. And as it was walking by, everything, every animal, the birds, everything dropped. Like, it just brought death with it. Death came and followed this damn thing everywhere. It was the most, I've never felt such hate, so much evil and anger, and it was just all in that thing that came in the facility.
We're in like this kind of like open cinema type place, and Obama was at the front, and he was giving a talk, as he does, and he was laughing and joking and smiling with everybody there. There was thousands of people there, and he was giving this talk, and then people were trusting him. They really trusted him. And the words, a wolf in sheep clothing, was displayed to me very clearly in my dream. A wolf in sheep's clothing. So, overnight, we was aware of some sort of huge disaster was happening or something. And we all went back in the next day, and they were letting the doors open again. I don't know why I was there. I didn't really want to be there, but I was there. And they let me in. And they had changed the setting of this cinema. They had taken all the seats out and everything. And everything had changed. And as we walked in, the floor was very sticky, every time you trod on it, it was like you were stuck to the floor. And then I saw the words go over, New World Order, and what I knew by that in the dream is it meant the whole world system as we knew it before had now collapsed and completely changed, and we were now in a new world order. And we all stood in there, and Obama, from this smiley man, turned around and said, worship me, worship me. And many people were deceived by his words, and there were others that were shocked that he'd suddenly changed. It was a trap, and the floor being sticky, you couldn't get out of that situation very well. And so we were all standing there, and he had guards walking around with weapons, guards like military people, army people with rifles and stuff, and they were walking back and forwards around this camp, and he had helicopters in the sky, heavy security.
So as people were laughing at some joke that was said, I was like, I'm the strongest man in this room. And Obama snapped. Like, his happy face in a split of a second was mean, scornful, beastly. It was like, ha ha ha. Like, it was like mean and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. You got a problem with that? And I was just joking. And yeah, his face just turned. It was kind of scary because I've never seen someone's facial expressions and their muscles go from like to like it was something.
Obama comes to the base that I was stationed on, to address the military people. But me and my friend, we were by this big pillar outside of the auditorium where he were addressing the other military people. And he came out of nowhere. He just appeared and he said, "Hey, can I use your phone?" with this evil, devilish look on his face. I wasn't scared at all. I was irritated because I was talking to my friends, so I was kind of irritated. I turned around, I was like, "What?" He's like, "Let me use your phone." I was like, "Here, whatever." Gave it to him, turned around, and started talking to my homegirl again. And then he's talking or whatever, and it's like the language is like, that, I don't know what, I think it might be Latin. That satanic language that they use in the rituals, that's what he was speaking, like, on the phone. And so I turned to look back at him, and like, you see how like you looking at me right now? As soon as I look back at him, he is on the phone, looking all evil or whatever. And right here, I hope I'm showing it right here, it said Beelzebub, like Beezleebub, like a caption right here. I think it was telling me who he was.
I remember I had this vision of a white truck pulling up to my home, and on the van it said Obama's Fishing. And in that vision, I knew that he was coming to get me. Like, I jumped up out of the vision because I was just like, it had frightened me. And my daughter was like, "Mommy, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I explained to her what my vision was about. Then probably about a week or so later, we were out of town, and she came climbing in my bed, and she was crying, and I was like, what's going on? And she was stating that she had a dream about Obama, and we had went to a gas station, and I went inside, I guess, to pay for gas or get something out of the store, and Obama came in, and she said he had a gun, and she was trying to get me. She was like, "Mommy," she came in, she said she came into the store, she was like, "Mommy, we gotta go because Obama, he's here, he has a gun." So we had left, and we went to a home that we had, and Obama ended up coming to the home, and he ended up killing me.
President Obama was sitting right in the middle of the stage, simply sitting there, kind of eerily sitting there, simple chair, sitting out facing the camera that was not rolling yet. And I got this feeling like he could be shot so easily. Like they're sitting him up to be shot is what it felt like. And I was over here and I had to walk by him and go down this hallway behind him. I heard him counting down backwards. So as I got close to him, I heard 6, 5, 4, 3, and at about 2 and 1, he had turned his body to me and he had grasped me with a very swift movement. And then before I knew it, I had a gun to my head and I was in a hostage position.
So in the dream, I'm standing on the right side of a stage and I'm looking at Obama, and he's got there's a giant bust of him, like a bust is basically a statue, a sculpture from the neck, from the shoulders up. And I mean, the thing is at least 10, 15 feet tall, maybe 20. And he kisses it on the face like he's worshiping himself or something. And then he turns towards me, to walk off the stage, and I can see that he's dressed as like a sultan. The best comparison I can come up with is Jafar from Aladdin, and he had the hat, and he looked very angry. But immediately I noticed on his right hip he had a golden sword that looked like a scimitar, something that you'd expect to see Muslims executing people with.
The stage was ready for the Antichrist, and the Antichrist, which was the beast that I saw in my dream, he was getting ready. He was putting on his coat, he was putting on his crown, and the last thing he grabbed was his stick. And that he had a golden throne too. He had a golden throne, and the last thing he did, he sat on his throne with his stick. I believe that that was a dream from the Lord, and the Antichrist is ready to rule. And in my dream, I was thinking that it was Trump. That's what I was thinking in my dream. But when I woke up, I had in my heart that it was Obama, and I just kept thinking Obama, and that Obama is coming back. That's what I believe. I believe that with all my heart.
What I remember is the Oval Office area, or one of those office areas. The Oval Office was turning gold. Obama was sitting in the chair, and the chair was turned. All I could see was the back of the chair. And the chair was brown or burgundy. That's all I remember. And then the walls were turning gold. The curtains were turning gold, and then the dome on top of the White House was turning gold, and the buildings, he was turning the buildings gold somehow, and he turned around slowly in his chair and kind of had that evil smile-ish smirk on his face. Either he wants to be king, or he's gonna be king.
I remember being down like in a bunker. And how I knew it was a bunker because there were stairs leading up to daylight. And when I looked up the stairs, I saw Michelle and one of the daughters standing there. But there was also Obama in the room. And what was strange about Obama was that he didn't have on a shirt. He had on pants, but he had inscriptions like carved in his body from his neck all the way to the waistband of his pants. And it looked like ancient symbols. They weren't tattoos, they weren't any ink or anything. It was his actual skin. And what was really disturbing about the dream is that all of a sudden, like a magnetic field started pulling me towards him. And mind you, his back was to me. It was as if he didn't even know I was there. And I was being pulled towards Obama, and both my hands were up as if you would, like when the police put you on the wall and they tell you put your hands up, and my hands were up like that. And like the worst thing to me happened that could ever happen, and I bowed down and I kissed his body. This was so devastating to me because, number one, what am I doing dreaming about a United States president? I never had a dream about a president a day in my life. I didn't care to have a dream about him. I wasn't listening to any news about him. It was just so clear to me. And the inscriptions that were in his body were like ancient. I'm talking about ancient Egypt. And I remember waking up from this dream being very, very disturbed. I did not understand it. I was very upset because I didn't want to kiss him. I didn't want to bow down to him because I bowed down to him as if he was God.